How would you re-break the rack from here? I'm betting almost no one chooses my shot, but let me know if you see it. There's a couple of interesting lessons about re-break shots in this rack of the week. Let's find out how I got to this spot. Let's get into the rack. I've got a nice inside angle on this break shot. I kind of expect the cue ball to hit the 10, bottom of the 10 maybe, and go to the bottom rail. This is just a straight high ball. Yeah, I really did hit it straight. The cue ball came off that rail and went straight up table. So little bit fortunate that, let me pause this. A little bit fortunate that I've got an easy shot to get back down table, although the 6 ball is no big deal. If I had something to play below the rack, I would probably shoot the 6 and bring the cue ball down here to try and open up. But as you can see, the rack didn't open. 6 balls right in the rack area, 9 balls in that whole area. So this is a re-break situation. So I'm looking for a strategic shot, one that can open that rack and give me an insurance ball, hopefully. So the 13 ball might be such a ball. If I got a low angle on that, I could go up this way. Might not be very easy to preserve a shot on the 3 doing that. So another shot might be the 10 ball in this pocket and then reopen the balls that way. So I'm thinking about that, but I also notice on this 14 ball, I'm almost dead straight. And I like the 1 ball in this side pocket next as a re-break shot. Because if I preserve my cue ball right here, I've got an angle to just go forward right into those balls. I think that the scratch percentage of scratching off this 12-8 into the corner is really low. And I think it's going to open them up. I don't really have an insurance ball. A lot of your re-break shots, you don't. They're kind of like your opening break shot. You're hitting them and just playing the percentages. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Do a good job of preserving that angle. The cue ball went towards the 1 ball there. If the cue ball had come straight down, I would have less of an angle. When you're close to an object ball, the exact position really changes your angle a lot. So I'm putting high inside on this, and I don't hit the rack. I only hit that 8 ball, but I'm still okay. Now, this is still a re-break situation, so I'm going to ask you, what would you do for a re-break shot here? I've got an easy shot on the 8 ball, so a little bit fortunate to have that. But anyway, it's real easy to bring the cue ball out here. Perhaps I want to play for an angle on the 13 to re-break that way. Or I could play, as I mentioned earlier, an angle on the 10 to re-break that way. And another day of the week, I would choose that. But I shoot a re-break shot right here. Do you see it? A lot of inside English on this 8 ball. I'm cutting it pretty thin. So the cue ball is going to retain a lot of energy, but it's close to the pocket. So I can judge this really well. I'm putting a lot of inside English on this. I want to split the 10 and the 4. I might not. I may hit one much more fuller than the other, but I think I've got a good chance of opening this up. This is kind of a pocket that's going to catch the cue ball and prevent it from going up table or scratching or doing something else. So I like this shot. It might look a little crazy, but it's not. I think it's very controllable, and I'd rather get those balls open sooner than later. So pretty good result. I went from 7 balls approximately in the rack area to 3. You can see me going, well, really this is my only shot is the 2 ball, either in the side or the corner, and I shoot it in the side. There's a real good reason why. So right now is the time to do rack analysis. The balls are almost completely open. All 3 of these balls, well, maybe not all 3, maybe just the 15 and the 12 go in this pocket. I've got a break ball here. The 11 ball might possibly be a break ball. It looks pretty low, but this is a good break ball. I don't have any great key balls, but I'm not too worried about that. But I like the fact that I have a break ball here. Since these balls go, I'm looking for a good way to get position on one of these balls, either the 12 or the 15. So that means my cue ball has to be over here. So I talked a few weeks ago about setup balls. So if I'm going to shoot one of those balls into that pocket, I'm looking for a ball over here somewhere. There it is. That's my key ball. You have key balls anytime during the rack. It's a setup ball, or you could call it a key ball. So I want to use the 6 to set up for one of these balls into this corner. And once that's done, all these balls are going to be wide open, and then I can work on an end pattern. So the 2 ball in the side pocket lends itself to that. 2 rails come off this side rail, and I'm going to have a real good shot on this 6 ball. Even if I come over here and have this angle, great shot. And the 6 ball is the key ball for taking care of the only trouble balls on the table. And they're not much of a trouble ball at that. So real good angle. Yeah, I need to go to the rail, so no problem. You just saw me went and look because I want to shoot. I'm hoping to shoot the 15 ball next. And it's hard to tell, but if I can get a shot on that 15 past this stripe, I can possibly bump these balls and make another break shot. And that's what I'm thinking about. Now, when I do that, I'm shooting pretty fast here. I did get the angle I wanted. Now, if I didn't get a shot on the 15, I can bail myself out with the 10, or possibly I have a shot on the 12. And once the 12's gone, then the 5 goes. So it's worth it to try and get this low angle rather than shooting the cue ball and bringing the cue ball, shooting the 6 and bringing the cue ball up high. Okay, so I've got that angle, but if I just tap this, then my cue ball is going to sit here, and what am I going to shoot next? So I've got to shoot a stun shot so the cue ball hits the 15, then the 5, and kind of comes up table, and then I'll have a choice of shots to shoot. So it's because I have to do that this ends up this way. Pretty ideal situation. So I'm taking a look. I manufactured another break ball, so I've got the 12. Either one of these can work as a break ball still. I like the 12 because maybe this is a key ball, maybe not. But now that this 12 is a possible break ball, this becomes a blocker ball. I need to get rid of that sooner rather than later. It really doesn't lend itself to play position on these low balls unless I get short side to shoot that stripe over here. So that's what I'm standing over here thinking about right now. Obviously, I could shoot the 13, kind of a stop shot, and then I could shoot the 5 and maneuver to the 11 somehow, or I could shoot the 13, get down to these low balls, and then maybe get short side, or even get short side to shoot the 11 up here. And then as long as I have a stop shot to shoot the 4 or the 9 next, that's okay. So I'm just looking at possibilities. I'm sure you guys see something good. Let me know in the comment section if you see something better than what I did. But eventually, let me hit play. I think it takes me a little bit to come up with this. But yeah, I'm looking at, can I shoot the 11 ball now? Because if I could, I'd love to. And it's because of that I just go right to this 10 and just tap the 10 to give myself a shot on this 11. Now I'm taking a quick look and making a decision because, so I did that instead of the 13 because it gets me on this 11. And I felt like it'd be easy to just draw the cue ball this way. I decide not to because, sometimes you mess up and scratch, or you draw it and the cue ball ends up on the rail. Funny things can happen, and it's really a touchy position zone. So I decide to break a rule, and the rule is once you get towards the latter half of a rack, you really don't want to be running into any balls, especially when they're this wide open. But from here, I know that I can hit this 4 ball really full. Just the cue ball is going to start here, and I'm just going to hit it right in the face. And I'll have a shot on the 3 next, and I want to hit it right in the face so that it goes this way. And I'm even thinking it might even become another break ball. But I don't care about that. I just want to control the cue ball so I have a shot on the 3, and the 4 ball does not tie up with the 9. If I can do that, I think that's very high percentage. So that's what I'm doing here. Perfect. Now what I'm seeing is that both of these balls go in this pocket. So I'd like to shoot the 3 ball and come up here and get rid of these balls. And then the 5 ball lets me pivot to either of these. And then either of these break shots, either one of them can be a key ball for the other. So this is an ideal situation. The only problem with that is I'm almost dead straight. The cue ball's on the rail and the 3 ball is just a tiny bit off the rail. So stunning the cue ball up here, boy, that just increases the chances of rattling that 3 and missing it. So the 9 ball, my decision I'm making now is I'm noticing that the 9 ball goes back this way. So let's just smooth draw the cue ball back to this rail, and that gets me on the 9. So now I can work it. From this point, the end pattern becomes much more clear to me, and that's 9-5-4 because I'm just going to bring the cue ball up here. I'll have a shot on the 5, either a stop shot or go to the rail and up. Then I'll have a shot on the 4 and bring the cue ball back up here. So I've resigned myself to, I don't know which break shot I'm going to shoot yet. It depends on what angle I get. If I get over here, then I'll shoot the 12 as the key ball and come around for the 13 ball break shot. But if my cue ball ends up here, then I'll shoot the 13 and come around this way for the 12 ball break shot. So that's the pattern. Draw this back, get on the 5. Looks like I've got an angle to go to the bottom rail. So now when I shoot this shot, I want to make sure that I come above the shot line to the 4 or close to it. Yeah, okay. So I'm close to straight. Well, I didn't draw my line very well. I'm just a little bit above. There we go. The shot line to the 4. So that's where you want to be. If you try to play cute and get below it, sometimes you end up too low, and then you can't hold the cue ball for your position. So come above this ball. Then you'll always be able to go to the bottom rail and come up and get an angle on one of your key balls. And I think I played specifically to get on the 13, so I was hoping for a shot on this line somewhere, and I came short of that. But I need to. I'm still going 2 rails. You could go 1 rail too, but I prefer 2 rails. If you go 1 rail, you're really playing your speed control and the angle, and sometimes the cue ball ends up here. You know what I mean? Like that. And that's terrible. So you don't want to do that. But the nice thing about this, and I've talked about this before, is here's the shot line for my break shot. If I'm coming out of this corner, I can't cross that line. I'm going to have an angle. So it just becomes speed control on this 2 rails to try and get yourself somewhere in this zone so that you have a good break shot. As it is, I'm going to pause this. As it is, I'm pretty shallow. So this is going to, I've already resigned myself to the idea that this is going to be another rebreak situation. And the reason is I have too shallow of an angle. I don't know the exact point my cue ball came off the rail. Having a hard time drawing straight lines today. But if my cue ball stopped here, oh, I've got a real nice angle then. That's good. So the farther you come, the less angle you get. But you know you're going to have an angle. So on this shot, this is just a stun draw. I want the cue, a lot of force. I want to hit the rack. And I'm hoping for the cue ball just to come up to center table. And I know that I'm not going to get very many balls loose. But the balls that come loose are going to come loose from this side of the rack this way. So I'm looking for the cue ball here to have a shot into that corner pocket. And this is one of the times where this works out much better than usual. That's a really ideal result. And I go to this shot immediately. I'm sure it's pretty obvious. But this one I make a mistake, and so I think it's important to point this out. It's pretty obvious. My rebreak shot, I want to rebreak immediately, is the 15. And so here's the parallel, a line parallel to the rail. Actually, you want to go, let me do that again. You want to look from the ghost ball position, line parallel to the rail. So I definitely want to be below this line. Then I'm cutting the 15. The cue ball has a lot of energy. I can use a straight high ball. Cue ball is going to go into this rack, and I would expect every single ball to come open. I shoot a little bit fast, and I decide, I think the right way to go about this is a follow stroke and send the cue ball to the bottom rail and up. And instead, I decide to stun it forward, and I end up above or maybe on that parallel line. So now I do not have the correct angle, and I've turned what should have been a super high percentage break shot to something that's much lower. And this is a jump rebreak shot. You see me cueing down at the ball and low. I'm not drawing the ball. You might think I'm trying to draw the ball so it hits these and hits those and draws, but that'll just send the cue ball back towards the bottom rail. That's no good. I'm trying to hop the cue ball into the stack with not so great results. Sometimes that shot works a lot better, but that wasn't so good. So the reason why I'm showing this, it shows you my cue ball stopped here, and I needed my cue ball to stop here. That's a difference of like 2 inches, maybe 3 inches. And that difference means everything. That's the difference between easily rebreaking the rack and continuing the run or having a lot of trouble. The cue ball, straight pool is a game of cue ball position. That's what it's all about. You want to learn how to get better at straight pool? Play drills that require very precise cue ball position. That's what it's all about. Anyway, I'll show the next shot just because I'm happy that I made it. The first inclination is to shoot the 7 because then I'd have a shot on the 8. But because I'm so close to the rail, it's going to be hard to hold the cue ball. So I'm going to shoot the 5 just with a straight high ball, just a cinch stroke, make that ball. I was hoping to hit the bottom of the rack and open them up a little bit more. As it is, I have a shot on the 8, and then I can come out center table and I'll have a shot on the 9 or the 7 and be able to continue the run. So a little bit fortunate to keep going, but this is a good example of this rack shouldn't have been so hard. It should have been wide open by now if I had just taken a little bit more care with that position. Anyway, that's this week's Rack of the Week. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.